God. Oh, no.
Tidak ada yang bunyi.
Tolong.
Tidak ada yang bunyikan angklungnya. Dengarkan Bu Hamida.
Alright guys. No sound from the angklung. No sound from the angklung. Okay.
Sekilas ini terlihat seperti sekolah biasa di Indonesia. Tapi nyanyian ini dibawakan oleh murid-murid yang tinggal di Sydney, Australia. Ini adalah sekolah Pelangi Kogara.
Halo, selamat siang.
Halo.
Apa kabar? Baik. Nah, Mas Rafa, ini Sekolah Indonesia Pelangi.
Sekolah Pelangi adalah program ekstrakurikuler yang mengajarkan bahasa Indonesia kepada siswa-siswi di Australia.
Yuk kita lihat di sini. Panahan. Panahan.
Di sini, murid-murid di Sydney belajar kebudayaan dan bahasa Indonesia.
Bola volley.
Bola voli. Pintar.
Beberapa dari mereka masih belajar kata dasar dalam bahasa Indonesia. Apa kata yang paling susah untuk diajarin?
Oh, nah ini kalau ada bahasa yang ada kata awalan dan kata akhiran ya, misalnya kerakyatan misalnya ya, itu agak sulit.
Tapi ada juga yang sudah jago, seperti Yasin yang lancar banget membaca teks Sumpah Pemuda.
Kami, putra dan putri Indonesia, mengaku berbangsa yang satu, bangsa Indonesia.
Lain lagi dengan Nathan. Karena ketekunannya mendalami bahasa Indonesia sejak anak-anak, Nathan menerima penghargaan dari Menteri Pendidikan di New South Wales. You got the Minister of Education Award. How does it feel?
So I feel very thrilled to receive this award and making my parents and Ibu Epi very proud of me.
Saya mencoba ngobrol sama Nathan dalam bahasa Indonesia yang ternyata fasih banget.
Makanan yang saya paling suka sate ayam, nasi goreng, terus ada banyak lain yang aku suka, nggak bisa namain semuanya.
Kamu dengerin lagu Indo ya pasti ya kalau misalnya di
Iya,
rumah.
kayak Tanah Airku dan Jangan Pernah Menyerah, tapi yang aku suka Tanah Airku.
Karina, satu siswa lainnya, juga mendapat penghargaan.
My mum's Indonesian and I've got family in Indonesia, but I couldn't speak to those family. I realized I can't communicate with half my family and that's something I need to change.
Catherine dimasukkan ibunya ke sekolah ini supaya bisa belajar bahasa Indonesia.
Karena aku mau anakku at least tahu mother language aku ya, bahasa Indonesia, karena aku married dari suamiku juga kan bukan orang Indonesia. Jadi aku mau at least dia ngerti bahasa Indonesia loh.
Sekolah Pelangi tersebar di 2 tempat lain seperti Smiths Hill dan Wollongong selain di Kogara. Kepada saya, Bu Epi membagikan rahasia yang membuatnya terus bersemangat.
Bukan kesenangan materi tapi kesenangan di sini, kepuasan di sini gitu. Apalagi melihat anak-anak mampu belajar dan bisa berkembang, dan juga banyak cerita sukses juga kan dari Sekolah Pelangi ini.
Indonesia, tanah airku, tanah tumpah darahku.
Pengaruh atau keberadaan bahasa Indonesia di Australia mungkin telah ada lebih lama dari yang kita duga. Jauh sebelum kolonisasi Inggris atas tanah dan air yang sekarang dikenal sebagai Australia, sejak 1700 sampai 1907, ratusan pelaut Makassar Indonesia mengarungi samudra menuju pesisir utara Australia, wilayah yang disebut Marege. Saat mengunjungi kota Darwin atau yang dikenal sebagai Tanah Larakia di Northern Territory, saya bertemu dengan Mark yang jago bikin sambal terasi. Ia percaya selain sambal terasi, ada banyak peninggalan orang Makassar mula-mula.
If you have a look across the top of Northern Territory, even parts of WA and Queensland, you got tamarind trees. Where they come from? The Macassans. The Indonesian influence has been there, and particularly as a seafarer, they used to travel through the waters, through the Torres Strait, and that's where all our food and influence come from.
Hal lain yang ditinggalkan pelaut Makassar adalah bahasa Indonesia.
For instance, the money is called rupiah in Northeast Arnhem Land, so the Indonesian influence has been there.
Ini dibenarkan sejarawan seni dan kurator Petrit Abbasi, Direktur Northern Center for Contemporary Art Australia yang baru saja menggelar pameran Tripang. Sambil menyusuri pantai Darwin, ia menuturkan fakta sejarah lain antara Indonesia dan Australia kepada saya.
As well as the tamarind trees, there were lots of wells for fresh water. So there are hundreds of wells along the islands. You know, just in the Yolnu Mata language, there are 350 words that are borrowed from Indonesian or from Makassar. It's a sign that, you know, there were people on these northern coastline shores that were speaking Indonesian, and they could communicate, and that's something that, you know, still hasn't been lost.
Mari kita beranjak dari masa lalu ke masa sekarang. Data terbaru menunjukkan jumlah murid bahasa Indonesia di Australia turun. Di Victoria misalnya, jumlah siswa kelas 12 yang belajar bahasa Indonesia turun dari 1061 pada tahun 2002 menjadi 387 pada tahun 2022. Universitas yang menawarkan pelajaran bahasa Indonesia juga berkurang. Dari 22 di tahun 1992 menjadi 12 di tahun 2022.
Enhancing Indonesian literacy would be helped by more investment from both of our governments in Indonesian language teaching in Australia, because we all know that, like, you know, language teaching is a really good way of getting better understanding of, you know, the actual kind of culture and society that the language is associated with.
Tapi, peminatnya sebenarnya masih ada. Saya menemukannya saat mengunjungi Perth di Australia.
And I've been to Indonesia briefly before, and I just, like, everyone there was so nice, and it was really cool to just experience it as a holiday. So I thought that, you know, the next step would be to go and study and live there a little bit longer.
Indonesians are like such nice, warm, welcoming people. Just, like, I've already been there.
I'm more excited about so the food, the culture, experiencing nature. Yeah, just discovering new things to Perth.
Mereka mengikuti program Australian Consortium for In-Country Indonesian Studies atau ACICIS, yang adalah organisasi yang mengadakan pertukaran pelajar sejak 1994. Salah satu alumninya, Matthew Satchwell, menceritakan pengalamannya belajar di Indonesia.
I think it really did broaden my horizons, put me outside of my comfort zone, made me a lot more resilient, I think a lot more patient. As it turned out, given my career that I've been following for the past 11 years in Australia, working for ACICIS, it's the very best thing I did at life, other than marry my wife, who was my classmate at Physipol UGM.
No way.
Yes.
You got a wife too.
Yes.
Tapi pengalaman Matthew mungkin tidak akan dialami banyak orang Australia lainnya. Pada tahun 2024, setidaknya 2 sekolah elit di Australia sudah menutup program bahasa Indonesia. Pakar menilai penurunan ini disebabkan oleh citra Indonesia di mata warga Australia sejak bom Bali pada tahun 2002. Hal ini disayangkan oleh Konsul Jenderal Republik Indonesia di Perth, Listiana Operananta.
There's no point, I guess, for Australian to learn, I don't know, any other language across the ocean, very far away, where they dealing every day with Indonesian, with people from Southeast Asia. I think it's both our responsibility, both the Australian and both Indonesia. But I think it's also the responsibility of the Australian government to make sure that foreign language, not just Indonesia, especially Indonesia, is on their agenda. Why? Because we're close neighbor.
Padahal, Menteri Luar Negeri Australia Penny Wong jelas-jelas menyebut pentingnya orang Australia untuk belajar bahasa Indonesia.
If there is one thing from Australia that we can learn from Indonesia, what it would be?
Bahasa Indonesia.
Bahasa Indonesia?
Yeah, we should learn about should speak Indonesian.
Actually, there is also one problem I would say that I would like to ask you. There's been a decrease in interest of learning Bahasa Indonesia.
Well, it's going the wrong way. So I'd say to Australians, just get out and learn the languages of the region. Bahasa Indonesia is so important to us. It always has been, it always will be. We understand that. It's part of our region, it's part of our history, it's part of our future.
Direktur ACICIS Liam Prince yang mengikuti perkembangan bahasa Indonesia di Australia juga punya kegelisahan yang sama.
I just think it's a really missed opportunity. Like I think that, well, I take it back to first principles that Australia and Indonesia, like geologically, we're rooted in being neighbours. What do we want to make of that proximity? Do we want to have a good, complex, rich, positive, mutually beneficial relationship, or not?
Liam mengatakan kuncinya ada di anggaran.
Right, if you just look back into historically when Australia has made progress on, say, uptake of a study of Asian languages in schools, it's only ever been driven by the Australian federal government, like the funding. I think the most likely outcome, or the most thing that could possibly happen in the next few years, is the Australian government decides to reinvest in Asian language education in schools. I've been arguing, in a teacher's position, and like-minded organisations have been arguing for a restoration of federal government funding to a rate of about $80 million annually a year nationally. That would put us back to the funding level where we were in the middle of 95.
Jika Liam benar, maka 10 tahun dari sekarang, anak-anak ini tidak akan kesulitan untuk meneruskan studi bahasa Indonesia di Universitas Australia. Eits, tunggu dulu. Sebelum kita sudahi episode ini, kira-kira seberapa Indonesianya ya Australia menurut narasumber kami?
If 5 is like fully Indonesian, then Perth is maybe a 3 and Melbourne is 4 maybe? Well, there are just a lot more Indonesian people in Melbourne, so that might suggest that Melbourne is more Indonesian, and there are more places in Melbourne that teach Indonesian language as well. It does seem like, for one thing, a lot more people in Perth have been to Indonesia, even if it is just Bali.